It's time for the Estrella. Hi, my brother's gonna be mad that I pronounced it like that. Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the ZiiGaat and Jay's Audio Estrella, or Estrella. Both are correct, this is just the way that I pronounce it, just not Estrella. The Estrella is a collab between audio reviewer Jay's Audio and ZiiGaat, and it's a 2-dynamic driver 4-balance armature hybrid IEM that comes in at $300, and its aim is to offer something a little bit different at a competitive price. Now, this unit was sent in for review and then sent off to some others in a tour. And as always, these are just my honest thoughts and opinions. So this is the first time that I've tried a ZiiGaat IEM, and so I'm not too familiar with what their typical accessories are like, but I assume that most of this IEM and the accessories are along the line of what's typical with this brand, and most of the collabs probably put into the tuning. For what you get in the box, it seems pretty standard for an IEM. A couple sets of tips, a case, and a cable. The case is about a wallet size and zips up. The included cable isn't my favorite. It is a bit stiff and also has a slight creaking noise to it when you move it around or coil it up. It's not really anything that affects the actual listening experience, and when wearing it, it doesn't seem prone to much cable noise either. It's just one of those things that can affect the initial feel in hand and how it wears throughout the day. For the shell themselves, they're a little bit on the larger side, but not too bad. The faceplate has a design on it that is similar to stars, which the name Estrella would imply. I did find the nozzle to feel a little bit large when in my ear, and for longer listening sessions I found that they did start to feel a little bit fatiguing. This could be rectified with different tips though, as the nozzle itself isn't quite as large as some other IEMs, so I think that a lot of the discomfort probably came from the tips itself. Something that unfortunately could affect your initial impression of this IEM though is the driver flex when you first put them in your ear. When inserting them, you can hear a crinkling sound from the driver, which unfortunately makes it feel a little bit less premium than what it is. They do equalize the pressure quite quickly, so after putting them in your ear, there's not much issue of them causing any sort of pressure imbalance. It's just something audible and could affect your initial impression. But of course, with most products like these, especially an IEM, it does come back to just how they sound. So how did Jay do with this one? Well, he did say that he wanted something that doesn't sound boring, but rather fun, dynamic, and gives a sense of detail. Basically, something a bit more V-shaped, but still sounding more technical, for lack of a better term. And I will say that with that goal in mind, this IEM does seem to hit a lot of that. Imagine taking the Harman target, but increasing the mid bass and treble a bit. The Estrella does have a bit of a bass boost over the Harman target, but that is also very much offset by the treble. The Estrella does have a lot of treble that bring out the higher harmonics, making it sound like it has quite fast attack in its presentation. Even with the mid-bass boosted, the bass still sounds defined since the treble is able to support the bass. The Estrella also gives me quite a decent sense of layering and separation in instruments, where they don't sound like they blend together too much. That said, there is a trade-off that makes it so I can't really listen to this IEM for too long in a stock configuration. The treble is boosted, but also a bit sibilant and fatiguing for me. I'm already not the biggest fan of the Harman-like ear gain, since it can make things sound a bit shouty to me, and having the treble boosted this way on top of that means that I can only really listen to this IEM comfortably at lower levels. It does seem to be a great EQ platform though. Without EQ though, the way that the treble mids come across gives me a sense of artificial sounding detail, where instruments don't sound natural or lifelike, but rather there's a touch too much sibilance and treble that brings out a lot of things that you might not have heard in some other IEMs if you didn't know they were already there in the mix. But I feel like I'm always aware that I'm listening to a recording rather than being fully immersed in the music myself. For people who like brighter tuning, or who are aiming for something that sounds more technical, they might like this a lot, and I can see this being very popular in some circles. But for me, I do prefer a little bit less treble and smoother overall presentation so I can enjoy listening for longer periods. Apparently the tuning that comes stock wasn't the original desired tuning for this IEM, but rather a choice made to help this IEM appeal to a larger demographic. One recommendation from Jay for this IEM is to use the tape mod to bring it back closer to the original intended tuning for this IEM, where you put a piece of tape over the vent to reduce the bass. Now, this isn't something unique to this IEM, it's something that works to varying degrees and has different effects on a lot of different IEMs when you cover up the port. But this is the first time that I've seen it recommended from the person who made it for their IEM. With this tape mod, the bass is reduced, so the treble and upper mids really become more of a focal point. But for me, I prefer the stock configuration since I feel that the bass was helping to offset the amount of treble that it already had. So that's pretty much it for me. I will say that while I have been a little bit critical and I don't think that this tuning is for me, it does seem to be something that Jay really likes. And for a collab IEM that has your name on it, that's pretty much exactly what you want. I've also seen a lot of praise from others who do like this as well. It should also be said that this is his first collab, and at that, it was quite well done. Not everyone who does a collab always has a hit, and especially not on their first one. So with all that considered, I do think that Jay went out with a goal in mind, that he wanted an IEM with a bit more V-shape that sound dynamic and technical, and he did achieve that. And there is also clearly a market for that. So with that in mind, I definitely have to give him props for this. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.